Here is a fact-based summary of the story contents. Here is a simplified version of the story contents. Here is a lighthearted take on the story contents. Although Young Sheldon's ending was a lot of fun, I still can't get my head around one part of the Big Bang Theory spin-off series final. The Big Bang Theory's ending was great, but the series final was far from perfect. Sheldon's Nobel Prize acceptance speech was a poignant, funny, and fitting end to the show, but Penny's last-second revelation of her pregnancy highlighted just how much the Big Bang Theory's focus shifted to Sheldon in its later seasons. As noted at the time by Vulture's Catherine Van Arendonk, Penny's decision not to have children was a rare, interesting subversion of sitcom norms. It was a daring decision for the series to make, and one that felt representative to a lot of viewers. So it was striking and disappointing when the series finale suddenly revealed she was pregnant without ever explaining why she and Leonard changed their life plans. This underlined just how much The Big Bang Theory truly was Sheldon's show by the time its finale aired, as evidenced by the very title of its first spin-off. If The Big Bang Theory gradually shifted its focus to Sheldon's character arc more and more with each passing season, Young Sheldon took the opposite approach. Ironically, given its title, Sheldon was arguably the least important Cooper family member for much of Young Sheldon's Season 7. The very existence of Young Sheldon's spin-off Georgie and Mandy's first marriage proves that Sheldon's older brother Georgie captured the hearts of viewers, while Mima, Missy, and Mary's major roles in that latter show evidenced their persistent popularity among the audience. The focus of Young Sheldon Season 7 moved back to the show's title character only in its final episodes, most notably Episode 13, Funeral, and Episode 14, Memoir. The former was a genuinely poignant outing that saw Sheldon's mind come to terms with the devastating death of his father, while the latter flashed forward to introduce Sheldon's older self. The show's narrator was revealed as he finished the first draft of his memoirs, only for his love interest from The Big Bang Theory to enter the scene and chide him for almost missing his child's big game. The disinterested dad being forced to support his children by a stern wife was a classic sitcom setup, but it flew in the face of all viewers who learned about Sheldon's journey in the original show's final seasons. Eventually, after endless arguing, Sheldon agrees to attend his son's hockey game in Young Sheldon's finale. However, this never sat right with me. Sheldon's disinterest in his children doesn't gel in Young Sheldon's series finale. Although it may have played better in the laugh-track-backed milieu of Georgie and Mandy's first marriage or The Big Bang Theory, the disinterested dad being forced to support his children by a stern wife was a classic sitcom setup, but it flew in the face of all viewers who learned about Sheldon's journey in the original show's final seasons. Sheldon overcame his self-obsession in The Big Bang Theory's finale. Sheldon learned to prioritize others throughout the original show. The primary thrust of Sheldon's character arc from The Big Bang Theory was that he finally learned to think about people other than himself, so it was jarring to see him disregard the needs of his children in Young Sheldon's flash-forward. It would have been one thing if the episode saw him dismiss the needs of an acquaintance or a colleague, but Sheldon specifically noted that he couldn't have achieved everything in his career without his family, his friends, and Amy during his acceptance speech. Thus, it was disarming and disappointing to see how short-lived this redemptive arc was, as Sheldon dismissed his children's interests as a waste of time in the Young Sheldon finale. The obvious irony was that Sheldon had spent untold time writing his memoirs, obsessing over the minutiae of his own childhood, but couldn't recognize the importance of a formative childhood event for his son. Again, though, this gag would have worked better if Sheldon hadn't grown out of such self-centered thinking in the original show's ending. Sheldon ignoring his children doesn't even fit his Big Bang Theory character. Sheldon prioritizing his children wouldn't be entirely selfless. Perhaps The Big Bang Theory's upcoming spin-off will reveal that Sheldon's moment of clarity during his acceptance speech was just a momentary change, and he immediately reverted to his worst self afterward. However, even with this explanation at hand, Sheldon effectively ignoring his children in young Sheldon's finale makes no sense. In Season 10, Episode 8, The Brain Bowl Incubation, a gene experiment led Sheldon to believe that he and Amy had uniquely impressive DNA that was bound to create uber-intelligent offspring. Sheldon became obsessed with procreation since he thought his children would be super geniuses, meaning he had an entirely self-interested reason to care about their development. Thus, Sheldon focusing on his children's upbringing would at least be partially self-interested in young Sheldon's finale, which makes it even more egregious for him to ignore his son's big game. The Big Bang Theory's potential sequel show may find a way to justify this, but I fear that a disappointingly banal reason could explain the issue.